All right, everyone, welcome on into Adam Cheek Sports Week. And it is a Saturday morning. We're recording this on April 19th, Easter weekend. And I am currently on Zoom with Tyler Locklear, who I talked to a couple years ago when I was back working at the radio station. But this is huge. He made his MLB debut last year, and we're going to get into all of that. But Tyler, first off, it's 9 a.m. It's early. I know it's early for both of us. Thanks so much for jumping on, man. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, doing good. First off, obviously you're in Tacoma to start the 2025 season. You did spring training. You made your debut last year. I want to get to that, but how's the season been for y'all so far, and where are you right now?
So far so good. I think we're about 500 right now on the record. We got a really young group right now, so everybody's really coming around. It's a really fun clubhouse to be around. It's guys you've come up with through the system since I was drafted. So very recognizable faces, and we're just happy to get it going and kind of see where it can take us.
Yeah, I'm excited to see y'all's season. You kind of like flown through the minor leagues. You started out with Modesto, and then Everett, and then um, wow, you can tell us Arkansas, and now Tacoma, and then of course to Seattle for a couple weeks last year. But so I kind of want to start with because a lot of people, I like do a lot of VC stuff on the podcast and everything, and obviously we talked a little bit about this a few years ago when we chatted at Siegel when they honored you guys after you won the A10. But what brought you to VCU in the first place?
It was really the only offer I had coming out of high school. I had two other ones, Gardner Webb and Towson University. That's one by my house. And then really just getting on campus, Steph and Witten showing me around campus and falling in love with the tradition of winning. That's kind of what brought me to VCU is I like to win. Like I didn't want to go somewhere and like not have a fun 4 years of losing. So just what they had to offer was really great. Just how they were able to developed me and put me through all the hard workouts and kind of get me where I am today. I couldn't be more thankful and happy with the decision I made.
Well, you played under Coach Silfler with a few guys who have kind of made their way into the minors and stuff. You had a season shortened in 2020, obviously with all the COVID stuff and everything, and then you kind of went off the next 2 years. I called a few games. I covered you for the CT a little bit that freshman season, and then I called a few games that freshman season 2020 for you, and then 2021 they were like, we need broadcasters in Richmond, like is anyone here to do the A10? And I was like, yep. I'm here. So I did, I think y'all's first two games, and then the third game, the championship game, they got rain delayed. I had to go work, which I still regret, but so I wasn't able to call that one. But you guys did win the A10, so kind of culminating in what was it, back-to-back titles, 21, 22, right? So
Yep.
how cool was that? Kind of, it was such a core to be a part of, right?
Yeah, it was awesome to be part of. It was one of those things coming in, like the rumor was that VCU can never get over the hump. They'd always be the one seed in the tournament and then get bounced early and really not be able to live up to expectations. So just being able to break that, especially with the guys that have been there prior to me, the fifth years coming back after the COVID year and just being able to do it for them was really special. And then getting a whole new group the next year, guys that really hadn't been at the level we'd been at before, a bunch of JUCO transfers, freshmen coming in, like a really young new team to college baseball, and then starting the way we started and being able to finish with the title was really special.
Well, and you ended up getting drafted, and I made some notes here because I do love throwing stats around and everything. So 2022 draft, the Mariners took you in round two with the 58th pick. Can you kind of take me through the process of kind of entering the draft a little bit, and then I guess like the moment you heard your name called, or I guess someone called you and told you got drafted?
Yeah, so it was one of those crazy things. Like it was on the West Coast, so I was on the East Coast, and draft started at 7. I was just waiting around all night. I ended up getting drafted at like midnight, I think, and then it was by the Seattle Mariners, who I had maybe a 5 minute phone call with. Didn't even meet the guy that drafted me. Like no Zoom, no face contact, whatever. You have all these teams like contacting you, so like you never really know where you're gonna go, and then all of a sudden the Seattle Mariners pick your name out of the hat. And they're like, "You're gonna be a Mariner." You didn't even hear from them all the whole throughout the whole process. So I was just thankful that somebody was able to take my name and get to where I am now.
Well, and a quick aside too, I know Brandon Ike got taken by the Mariners last year and everything. Have you had a chance to talk with him at all?
Yeah, we've been I got to see him this spring training a lot because it was his first spring training, so I just was trying to see him and like get to know him a little more because I met him when I came back to VCU a couple times to practice with the team. But
Yeah.
now that I get to see him in a professional standpoint and talk to him, pick his brain a little bit, it was cool.
Yeah, that was like seeing. I think one guy got taken by the Cubs last draft and everything. Like seeing a couple more VCU guys go because I talked to Ike. I think last year, like the mid season, some or right before the season. So like having two guys in the Mariners organization is kind of neat. And with I guess kind of what was the process of once you were drafted and everything, once the Mariners took you and everything, what was the process of kind of getting, I guess, acclimated to the minor league system and eventually, I guess, Modesto was your first stop. So what was that like?
It's one of those things where everybody gets picked and then everybody's on the floor pretty much. Like all the rankings and whatever where you got drafted kind of goes out the window, in the sense that you're all in the same spot. Like the goal is the big leagues and you really just gotta work your butt off and see what happens. So that's really been kind of my thought process throughout the whole thing is you start from ground zero and kind of got to work your way up, go through failure, get with the coaches, talk to them. Like everybody's here to help. So just getting with them and trying to develop game plans, like swing mechanics, all that stuff, working on your defense, sitting through your player plans, having them tell you what you need to work on, go into the off season, and it's a longer off season than college, so you're really by yourself. So you really have to be disciplined and get your work in. So just taking what they tell you that you need to work on, do it in the off season, and then come back the next year ready to go and just really grind it out for 140 to 162 games a year.
Well, and you're the VC record holder for single season home runs, single season RBI, career slugging percentage. You're tied for the home run record. You hit, in terms of single season, you hit 20 one year and you drove in 78 runs. So those are the two records, those two records at least. And you're tied for the home runs with 37. So I'm curious, like, obviously we had the diamond here and everything. I guess what was playing there like, and did that kind of help you prepare it all for, playing in minor league ballparks more so than it would have like a college stadium?
It did in a way. The minor league ballparks aren't too different now, especially the lower levels than a college ballpark. But definitely in the Double A, especially the diamond, is a tough place to hit. So like you really have to develop as a hitter to begin with, and learn your strengths and weaknesses like in a bigger ballpark, and it teaches you really how to hit. So being there really helped me a lot, I think. And then just having Stiff too, he was able to kind of coach you up as a pro and really get you ready for pro ball.
Well, and kind of playing at the Diamond, I guess, like because like not a ton of college teams have like an actual minor league ballpark to play in. Was there kind of a cool like I guess like aura to that, like you guys get to share your stadium with a minor league team?
Yeah, it was really cool just because it was a big old stadium, so like you were comfortable playing in like a big stadium with the seats and like the overhang and all the wind and all that, and then being able to go like into a locker room that goes into the dugout. Like most teams don't really have that. Having like a clubby, essentially, and you're just used to all the minor league baseball perks that you get now.
Yeah. Yeah, now we're getting a new ballpark. Carmax Park is going up. They just put the final beam on. Everyone got to sign it. So it's kind of cool seeing that kind of come up next. I'm gonna miss the Diamond. I really am. As much of a wind tunnel as it is sometimes, I'm definitely gonna miss it a little bit. But it's kind of neat hearing like that perspective on the minor league. Like Will Jensen, who was in the Giants system, he's now in the Cubs system with. I'm completely blanking on which VCU player got drafted by them last year, but he's talked about that a little bit. I had him on like the first episode of his podcast 70 episodes ago. But like playing at the Diamonds, and I guess like the Richmond atmosphere and everything. I'm kind of curious what what you guys kind of saw from the fan base and everything because it's right down the street from VCU. You're able to get a lot of people out there. Like the UVA game's always packed. I was out there. That was frigid. I was out there a couple weeks ago for that one. But what was I guess the Richmond atmosphere at the Diamond like, I guess.
The city was unbelievable. Like it's a very vibrant, like really like lively city. So it was really cool to see, especially when we play like UVA. There'd be 5,000 people. Like the upper bowl would get filled, and then just going to Squirrels games on the off day as well. Like they get like 10,000 fans a game, and like you never really see anything like that in a minor league stadium. So just the way that they're able to promote themselves, it's really cool to see.
Did you guys ever get to work with the squirrels at all? Like talk to some of the players, or was there kind of a separation?
There's a little bit of separation just
Hmm.
because they would have all the priority over the field, so we would really be nowhere near the field whenever they would get to town, other than games for the most part.
Well, so once you got into the minor leagues and everything, obviously we have squirrels here, same level as when the Arkansas Travelers that you were in different leagues and everything, kind of the spread out leagues that they have. But can you kind of take me through some of the differences between single A Modesto, high A Everett, double A Arkansas, now Triple-A Tacoma? Can you kind of take me through the differences between each level?
There's really no difference. The word that I like to use a lot is the game gets more polished as you go up.
Mm,
So, like, all the raw stuff kind of goes away, and guys really are able to like hone in on what they're good at, use that, and then like just clean everything up that they're really good at, and kind of turn themselves into baseball players at each level. So that's really the only difference I would say is that I would say going through all the levels, the game just gets more polished.
gotcha. Well, like I guess before we get away from Richmond too much, what was kind of your experience here with VCU and playing at the Diamond and just in the city like?
I thought it was awesome. Like I love showing up to the Diamond every day. Like it was old and beat up, but like it's your home, so like you just have to take pride in it. And it was just a really cool place to be. And like it's nice. Like it's nicer than a bunch of college parks that we would go to. Like we had a big dugout, like big field. Like we had access to it all the time. We had a tunnel to hit in underneath, so like we weren't ever cold hitting there. So it was just really nice to have compared to some of the college stadiums that we would play in the A10 especially.
Well, I don't remember how much overlap you had with these guys. I did like a panel like two-part podcast with Michael Daly, Justin Sorokowski, and Stephen Carpenter a year and a half ago almost. What was kind of, I guess, like the brotherhood with the team like, and how has that kind of continued with some of the guys you played with?
Yeah, I'm best friends with literally every team that we've had. So it's one of those things like the brotherhood never went away. Like there's most colleges where like some guys will like get done and then go away and do their jobs like wherever else. But the crazy thing was everybody just stayed in Richmond. So like you always can come back to Richmond and everybody's there, nobody's left. So you get to talk to them and just get to catch up every time you come back, and it's really cool to see. Like we all still text each other, like try and meet up in the off season whenever we can, and just hang out. And like it's like you never missed a beat.
We'll have to sit down if you ever come through Richmond again. But I gotta ask because I think you were in Modesto when, for my day job, we write about like neighborhoods and stuff but like, so you were in Modesto around the same time I was writing about maybe Modesto, maybe Bakersfield, something close. But so I was like, oh, Tyler Locklear's playing there at the same time writing about it. That's kind of cool. But like getting into single A, I guess how much of an adjustment did it take? And what's that kind of pathway been like? You know, because it was a pretty quick succession between A, high A, double A, triple A. Is there like a lot of chaos involved with that, or are you kind of used to that by now?
At the beginning, there's a good bit of chaos just because you're never used to it. Like getting called up, like it's like, hey, you're going up, and then pack your stuff, go to the city, like literally the next morning, like within 10 hours. So you got to fly, you got to take 9 bags to the airport, whatever, and then like just coming through the system, you just get used to it. Like that's what happens when you have success. Like you just get ready for it.
Yeah.
It's not a big of a surprise for you. Like it's not a huge culture shock. Like I was on the whole other side of the country, uh, in Arizona and then Modesto. So that was really like the only adjustment. Didn't really know anybody either. Like you just kind of got to get comfortable in the clubhouse. That's really the only difference I would say is the big change and adjustment that you have to make.
Well, and kind of going through, like, I guess I feel like the minor leagues are a little more organized is probably the wrong word, but like maybe more like, you know, fluid I streamlined now, I guess, with like because they switched to the 6 game slates every week rather than doing like three travel, three travel. It's, 6 games off day, 6 games off day. Kind of alternating between home and away. So, is that a pretty? How does that work for you? Like, are you used to that by now, or is it still a little kind of all over the place?
Yeah, I'm definitely used to it by now. It does tend to get a little long when you're in a hotel for a week, but when you're back at home, it's really easy. But it's really nice to have the structured off day and like just you get more into a routine. And you actually know like what you're going to do. Like that's the big difference. Kind of flipping to the big leagues is that you're in your city for 3 days, get on a plane in another city for 3 days, and come back for 3 days, then go away for 10. You do get the off days like every week or so, 10 days ish. So you don't get absolutely pounded with just like a month of straight baseball. You still get your off days, but just the adjustment of like time zones, getting on the plane, it is way nicer and they do it really faster. So that's the nice part. And you just have to get accumulated to that and figure out your routine within that.
Well, the biggest thing that I want to ask you about because last June or whatever I saw the MLB like tweet ping something like that where it said that you got called up to the Mariners in my note here says June 9th was your first game. So I guess you're called up the same day and everything. Can you kind of take me through that moment, how cool that was, and maybe a little bit? I guess there was maybe a little bit of chaos and all because like, oh God, I got to get to Seattle. But what was that moment like for you?
It was just one of those surreal moments, like dream come true. I was hitting in the cage, like getting ready for the game we had in Tacoma that night, and then our third base coach says, "Hey, Skip wants to go talk to you." And then he asked me, he's like, "Hey, can you play outfield?" And I was like, "I've taken reps in the outfield. Like I've never done any game. Like I can do it for sure." And
Yeah.
he's like, "Well, good thing you don't got to play outfield because you could play first base in Seattle." And then I had to get a flight to Kansas City. It was in like 2 hours or whatever. So I flew to Kansas City for the day game. I was there for maybe a total of 12 hours and then played the game, came back to Seattle, and then we had our 10-day homestand. So that was nice. But it was just one of those things like it just catches you off guard and then you're making all the phone calls and everybody's scrambling for flights to get to Kansas City. And you're just running around packing all your stuff in your locker, trying to get it to Kansas City. Like it was just one of those wild things.
Well, yeah, so what about like that moment stepping on the field, like an MLB field for the first time? Because I guess your guys at Kaufman if you're in Kansas City. So what was that, kind of moment like for you?
It was just like you just have to take it all in. That's what they told me. They said look around and then don't look up again because then you'll get nervous. And then like my whole thing with the game, I don't even remember the game. Like it was pretty much like a blackout the whole time almost. Like it was just so cool.
Well, and you ended up with your first MLB homer a few days later on the 13th at home, I believe, off Garrett Crochet, who, no slouch of a pitcher himself. So can you kind of take me through, I guess, before I get to that, like the homer specifically, kind of maybe the adjustment to facing MLB pitching. Like you mentioned, it gets more polished as you go up. So obviously the MLB is as polished as it can get. But was there anything you had to tweak or any different approaches you had to make to adjust to?
Uh, it's really just game plan stuff, honestly. Like the guys are really good, so you have to look at their strengths and see what they're good at, try and match them up to your strengths, and really hone in and like not chase your weaknesses. Really hone in, tip your cap when they make good pitches. Just really just like stay in your approach and not coming off of it, because then you'll get exposed really easily.
Well, and your first hit came in that first game, which was an RBI double, which I'll get to this in a few minutes because as someone who I've collected baseball cards for God 20 years now almost, and Topps now made a card of your debut hit and everything, which I thought was insanely cool because they overlooked some stuff, but I was like, oh my God, they actually made this. But you say you don't even remember the game, so was everything kind of blacked out there? You don't remember any of that?
I definitely don't remember rounding first on the hit. Like it was one of those things like you hit it and you're like, oh my god, it's in the air, and then it's like in the gap. He's running at it, and then all of a sudden it falls, and like you're on second base, and you're like, oh my god, I got my first hit in the big leagues. Like it was just one of those crazy things that just all came into fruition.
And a few days later, with your first homer off Crochet and everything, do you remember that a little bit more?
Yeah, definitely. Just like you start getting comfortable like around the locker room, like seeing all the same faces every day, like getting to know the guys. So you end up kind of being a part of the team. So you just get to know and like meet all of them, and you're just playing with them at that point.
And w when you finally got that first homer, I remember. I think I had tuned in live because I had my roommate's MLB TV account or whatever, and was it that game? It was either that or the debut. I'm not sure, or maybe it was both. But seeing your first homer like that has to be really cool. Like kind of like maybe not necessarily breakthrough might be the wrong word, but like kind of like check that box, right?
Yeah, you're always trying to like when you're new, especially like checking as many boxes as you can, just because the first one's always the hardest one, and then once you get out of the way, you just relax, go play the game, and then you just go from there.
And what about adjusting in the field, that kind of? Because if I remember right, you played first pretty most of your time up in Seattle because I know they were kind of going through their like Ty France like got optioned or released eventually, and so they were kind of like platooning guys. And so you played first, I think most of the time you were there. So what was the adjustments on defense like?
Really, it's just getting more reps. So Perry Hill, our infield coach, like he's been getting with me ever since last year when I got to meet him in big league spring training for the first time. Just harping on defense, just getting with him, getting more reps, getting one-on-one reps. He's just been teaching me things around the bag, like things with picking the ball, attack angles on the ball, like double play feeds, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I did yoga this off season to get more flexible for first base. So that was one thing that we had harped on is just getting more flexible and fluid with the motions, and it's paid really big dividends. Getting with him, he's helped me so much throughout like just pro ball. Like it's just been really good, and he's helped me so much.
And being, I guess, in that, I guess, kind of to go back to the Homer for a second, the Mariners have the Trident celebration and everything. So you got to experience that a couple times.
So, yeah, it's really cool, and it's way heavier than what people think.
Well, and playing with guys, being sharing a locker room with guys like Cal Raleigh, Randy Rosarena, I think he was there by the time. Maybe he got traded near the All-Star break. I'm not sure. Julio Rodriguez, those guys. What's being around those guys like? Sharing a locker room with some of these guys that have, like Julio's been huge the last couple of years.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really cool, and just like being able to talk to them and like get advice from them about what they've done in their careers and just how you can use their advice to kind of help prosper your career, and then just having fun with it. Like it's a really fun clubhouse. Like it's a bunch of like 30-year-old kids, honestly. Like everybody's playing a kids game, and they just have so much fun with it, and like it's just so much fun to be around and come to the ballpark every day.
When you made your debut, did they have like, did they all kind of welcome you in, or was it more kind of like, here's the clubhouse, here's your locker, and you just kind of got ready? Because I know you had a pretty quick turnaround. So, did you have time to talk with any of them? Did they offer any like advice that really stuck with you?
Yeah, they were really good and welcoming me like with open arms and just like sitting me down and talking to me, like giving advice on their debuts, like what they've done, just how to win the game that day too as well. So they were all really good, and I was really thankful for that because it's kind of a tough situation to get in. Like you get overwhelmed sometimes with all the media and everything like coming in, and then just trying to do good for the team and everything. Just having them give me advice about their debuts and kind of what they went through. It was really nice.
Well, and kind of since then, I think you got called up a second time a little bit later on in the season. With that second stint in the majors, maybe not necessarily used to it, but were you able to kind of like settle back in pretty quickly to the flow of things?
Yeah, you're definitely more comfortable just like around the clubhouse and stuff, knowing all the faces and names of everybody and kind of what the day's routine is. So it was a little more comfortable going up the second time.
And were you able to kind of apply anything like that you, I guess, experienced with those few weeks in the majors back to Tacoma to kind of refine your game, that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's you just try to make all the adjustments you can when you get set down. Like they tell you what you need to work on it there, and then get called back up, and then try and just keep going from there.
Well, and I got to ask because, like I mentioned, the Tops Now card. I'm a chronic collector of baseball cards, so I have a couple here. This is your VCU
Yep.
Panini from a few years ago, pro debut, and this 2025 Topps rookie card. Before I get to that one, because obviously these are sticker artists, and you maybe weren't necessarily in the same room with the cards as when you signed them. But when you, I guess you got told that, hey, we're gonna put you on cards with like your VC uniform or minor league uniform or whatever. Um, how surreal is that? I was like, that's the one thing I gotta ask. Like how surreal is that moment? It's like you're getting your photo on a baseball card. I don't know if you collect it at all, but
Yeah, it's really cool, honestly. Like, I don't know, everybody wants a baseball card when they grow up. Like, that's kind of like the cool thing that you get when you become a professional baseball player is that you get your face on a baseball card.
yeah.
So, I was actually able to like pull myself the first time. I bought like a little pack of Target and I got to like pull myself. So it was really cool to see. And then also when you're playing like MLB the show, like and your card comes across like one of the packs, like it's really cool to see yourself in a video game too.
Yeah, I love that. The first box of 25 that I got was your rookie card, number 192. You've got a variation that's an on-card autograph, and you have a couple other autographs thrown throughout, and then like some of the 1990 throwbacks. So, but that was super cool. I was like, oh my God, like I stumbled across that the first box I got. With 2025, that might have been what you were talking about. How surreal is this?
It's super cool. And then just like I don't know, you get to relive the moment, I guess, every time you see it. So it's really cool to see.
And kind of going into, the side of things with where you're at, now 2025 in Tacoma, how's the season gone for y'all so far? Is there any, tweaks or adjustments that you made in the off season that have really kind of helped change things?
There's just it's more just like harping down on the strengths and then getting into your weaknesses a little more. You're making adjustments every day. Like it's baseball, like it's a game of adjustments. So every day you're kind of making adjustments based on the pitcher, like defense that day, whatever the lineup's showing. So just really trying to work on my defense as always, and then just stick to my approach in the batter's box and just go from there every day and take it day by day.
And with the Mariners, how do you kind of, I guess, balance, waiting for the call up again and, focusing on playing with Tacoma and like, what's that balance like? Because like, you're in the majors and everything. Kind of the balance like once you go back to Tacoma?
You obviously always want to get back to the majors as fast as
Yeah.
possible, but we had me and Skip had a talk before the season, and it was just all about be where your feet are right now. You can't call yourself up, so you just do everything you can down here and just don't worry about it, and it'll take care of itself. Like you could be 10 for 15 for a week and not get called up, and then the day you get called up, you're 0 for 7 on the week with 5 strikeouts, and all of a sudden you're going up. So you never really know when the day is going to be and when the phone's going to ring. So you just got to be where your feet are, take it day by day, and then go from there.
And I don't know how much licensing actually goes into this and everything, but I've been trying to chase the rainbow a little bit of the pro debut cards. So I have a bunch of them here. Because like a lot of people are like, oh, player collection, that kind of thing. And I'm like, there's so many like mass produced cards now. It's like, focus on a couple things. And I'm like, yeah, I've interviewed you. Like I do like, I have some of years I have Bones Highland, like I commentated some of his games. He was playing hoops at VCU. So, but was there any like licensing process that went into like Tops reached out to your agent or you or and was like, hey, we want to include you on a card, was there a whole process with that?
Oh, it's not that big of, or at least I don't see it for the most part. My agent mainly takes care of it, and then
Mhm.
he'll come to me with whatever the deal is in place, and then we'll just sign it, and then they send you the cards. Representative will come with like all the box of the cards, or they'll just send you the stickers in the mail, and you'll sign those. So, uh, it's really a cool process. Uh, I don't think it's too hard. Everybody always asks if I get like hand cramps or anything. I like doing it because I think it's cool to like see stuff before it comes out. Like nobody else has seen it yet. So
And you have a pretty fluid signature too. It's not super involved. It's just you got the T and then yeah. And with kind of the evolution of managerial processes, I guess like working with coaches and staff and stuff. Obviously, you had Stiff at VCU, who was awesome. Talked to him I think a couple times way back when. But being at VCU, kind of how does the approach to baseball, I guess, if unless that's too broad, evolve from the college to the minors to the pros?
it's just it's always about winning and getting better. Like really, the big thing that I've kind of come to see is that like as long as you take care of your teammates, like everything will come like naturally to yourself. So just having that mindset, like always being a good teammate and like always trying to get your work in, like that was a big thing. Stiff was always on, just getting your work in, like being at the field, being with the guys. Like we would come back early for preseason, like a week early, and get in the weight room. So just being like religious to your weight room, being good in the classroom, being good on the field, like it was all just kind of ingrained in our brain with him. So just taking that to pro ball and sticking with it really helped me a lot.
And you were number 28 at VCU. You ended up with the Mariners, you were 27. What kind of went into your number process? Because they're close enough where I feel like one of them was someone had the other number, so you had to kind of move it around a little bit. But what went into
Yeah.
your number process?
I honestly showed up. I was 87 in spring training, and then I got to the big leagues and I was 27. So I never got to pick my number.
Mm,
Uh, and then this year I tried to change it, and then somebody that had more time with me got to 28 this year. So that's really all that goes into it. But I was thankful that I got like a nice number. Uh,
yeah.
so it was cool to walk in and see like 27 on your locker instead of like 73 or something.
So 28's your kind of go-to though.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Is there a reason behind it?
No, just it was so the number's always been 13 in my family, and then I got to college and I had 28 on my locker, and I kind of just wanted to have my own number, I guess, and keep it
Yeah.
there.
And with kind of the looking back at VCU sort of thing, and where you're at now, 3 years after three, I guess is you graduated in 22, right? So 3 years after, kind of how have you seen your game kind of evolve, over your time in the minors and to the pros and everything?
You definitely get more physical, for sure. Just getting in the weight room and eating, growing up. Like get more aggressive at the plate just because there's less pitches that you get per at bat. Uh, in a sense that the guys are good and they don't make mistakes the older you get. And then defensively, just getting to work with all of our field coaches and being able to work kind of one on one. That's kind of the difference you get in pro ball as opposed to college. You get more one on one time. So just getting out there early, working with them, and getting as many ground balls and like short fungo drills, pick drills, all that. That's kind of really been the difference that I've been able to evolve my game a little bit.
And if I go back like a ways, what I guess got you into baseball in the first place? What was kind of what started your you loving the sport and playing it, and I guess kind of an offshoot of that. Was there anyone that you really idolized growing up?
Uh, I would say Adam Jones just being from Baltimore, like that was kind of
Yeah, yeah.
him and Manny Machado just because I played third base and we were 13. So I've always had a bat in my hand at a young age. Everybody in my family played baseball, so it was just one of those like family things. And then it just ended up getting to this point. So
So you were an Orioles fan or just a fan of those two guys?
I was an Orioles fan being from
Okay.
Baltimore.
Yeah, I love the Roberts Jones Markakis core and everything. Love Machado. Adam Jones, one of my all-time favorites. And man, that core getting broken up in like 2013 was heartbreaking.
Yeah,
But no, I loved Adam Jones. I reached out to try to get him on the show when I was still at the radio station, and because he has like a podcast, and did not hear back. But we'll try that again at some point. And so I guess kind of looking forward, what's kind of your MO thought process, going forward, still being in Tacoma?
just taking it day by day and just getting better every day, like sticking to your routine and just not coming off of it. Because you're gonna have ups and downs throughout the season. So just being level headed and being able to stick with your routine every day and not get too high or too low.
And did you like vary positions at all as you play? Because obviously you're mostly third at VCU, I want to say, and then you played first with Seattle and everything. So are the two corners kind of your main posts here?
They're my main posts. I've kind of taken over first a little bit over the last
Okay.
couple of years. So not so much third anymore,
Eh,
but it's still in the back pocket. I go take ground balls there just to stay ready, conditioned over there. But it's mainly just been first.
Gotcha. Well, is there anything that I didn't touch on that you think that you want to talk about at all? Because I feel like I'm missing a couple things, but I always feel like I'm missing a couple things. But is there anything I missed?
I think you did really good, honestly.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. No, I'm just like I'm excited to, see you, kind of go up through the minors and everything. Seeing the debut last year was awesome, and I'm looking forward to where you're going next. I hope I can have you on again at some point down the road.
Yeah, definitely.
But this has been great, man. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, a big thanks again to Tyler Locklear for joining the podcast. I'm going to do a quick outro here, promote some other stuff. Ben Dunn from VCU joined the podcast recently. You can check that out as Banana Ball is coming to the Diamond over the summer. And you can also go back and check out some of the other episodes I mentioned with Michael Daly, Stephen Carpenter, Justin Sorokowski, all that stuff. You can go back and do that. But again, a big thanks to Tyler for joining the podcast. And we'll talk to you guys next episode.